Let's go across to the guest joining us. Guru Prakash Paswan is from the BJP. Tehseen Poonawalla is political analyst, leans towards the Congress party. Also, Professor Chandan Gowda is Professor, Institute of Social and Economic Change. Desh Ratnam Nigam is lawyer and political analyst, leans towards the RSS. I should announce that Congress and DMK have refused to be officially part of this discussion. Again, I wonder why. Tehseen, why is it that the Congress is shying away from condemning Udhayanidhi Stalin's comments? Why is it that the Congress is speaking in two voices? In fact, appallingly, some of their leaders are actually backing what Stalin has said.
Vani, at the onset, thank you, and I'm grateful for having me on the show. And I'm appalled at the statements Mr. Stalin is making. For one, let's for a minute leave the moralistic argument aside. Just for a second, let's leave the moralistic argument aside. It's terrible. You cannot call people mosquitoes or a way of life, malaria or dengue or corona. It's terrible. And if the thing was reversed, let's assume Guru Paswan, who's a very dear friend of mine, but represents the BJP, said the same about an Islamic way of life. What would we say? It's wrong. How can this be accepted? So it's terrible that this has been said. But let's look at it. But let's look at this politically. Apart from this, Mr. Stalin, whose only claim to fame is being the chief minister's son, who is the grandson of Karunanidhi and the grandson of Karunanidhi, is talking about privilege. Can you imagine politically what suicide is this? And look, I'm a Congressman.
The problem though is, Tehseen, that exactly this politics of the DMK has been rewarded in Tamil Nadu. I don't want to get into that. But fundamentally, politically, why is parties like the Congress party unwilling to take them on? Why are they in alliance with the party which is so rabidly anti-Hindu? Does that question not go to the Congress party?
It does, and I'm stunned. Because I support the Congress. I go out of my way to defend the Congress. And Rahul Gandhi ji, who's my idol, told us that he's a Janyudhari. Yeah. So is Rahul Gandhi ji privileged? Second, Rahul Gandhi ji said कि मैं नफरत के बाजार में मोहब्बत की दुकान खोलने आया हूँ. Which is great. Then mohabbat ki dukaan has to open with conversation. Every way of life must evolve, must require reforms, dialogues. But that should happen through a political process or through a legal process or through consultation. You can't call people mosquitoes, dengue, COVID. I'm again saying, Shivani, let's say if this was for Christians or Sikhs, what would we say? We would say this is bigotry. It's not right. Supreme Court has called this as hate speech. In my case, how is it accepted if you call people from the Sanatan Dharma? Does the Congress not have people from the Sanatan Dharma?
So that brings me to the question that I'm asking today, Tehseen. You are a supporter of the Congress party, what it stands for. The Congress party claims to be the biggest votary of secularism in India. They believe secularism in India exists because of the Congress party and not because of parties like BJP. Explain to me, how is this secularism?
This isn't. That's what I'm saying.
Then why is our Indian politicians so weak? If votes all they care for, they cannot stand up for Sanatan Dharma in a country like India, Bharat?
Forget in a country like India. Tell me, Shivani, and you're a very reasonable person. I also know you on a personal level. Which minority will be happy by you calling Sanatan Dharma, people for calling Sanatan Dharma mosquitoes or malaria? They don't get happy with this. So this isn't even appeasement. I mean, people who are minorities from any caste or religion don't get happy when you do this. They are not excited that you're doing this. For example, Mr. Paswan comes from a minority background. I know him personally. He's from a Paswan background. Will he get happy? No. This is not something to be happy about. What are you celebrating?
Yet it works
it is
for the
moralistic.
DMK. No, forget the moral argument. Yet for DMK, it works in Tamil Nadu. It's a fascinating story and study, which is a very devout state, mind you. Tamil Nadu is a devout Hindu state. Why it works there is a fascinating story. But I want to go across to Professor Chandan also. How is this acceptable when all of these politicians claim to fight for secularism and they claim that they are secularism? I use that word deliberately because obviously claiming to be secularism doesn't mean you actually uphold its tenets. But this is as rabid anti-Hindu commentary and speech as is possible. Don't you think that this is exactly what invites statements from the other side as well?
It's a very complex matter. See, just to set the record straight, the AIDMK, with which the BJP is close to, is also an inheritor of the same stance on how Hinduism has to be seen. So you'll have to put both parties on the dock if you're interested in pushing it in that angle. Please remember that Periyar built a movement which later split into DMK and AIDMK, right? And they both are inherited of the same legacy, reflected in popular cinema, popular songs for over a century. 2 years from now, it will be 100 years of the self-respect movement. Be that as it may, I don't think, you and I, might have a right to feel, angry or, or offended even at what he has described it. But unless we have the maturity to understand that he has the right to be angry in his own terms, because
is it right? No, I get that. I have no problem in calling out casteism. I will join that cause. How is eradicating a religion a just cause?
I think the mosquito corona comparison is nothing compared to what others have compared it to in the last 100 years.
So what? That doesn't mean I can't criticize it today.
What's on the street is tougher.
No, but Chandanji, you're not understanding. What people have gotten away with in the past is hardly my concern today. I am still going to criticize Udhayanidhi Stalin, not by the standards that the DMK has set it for itself, but by the standards that Indian politicians want for everyone.
Shivani, if you are in the receiving end of Hinduism, you have a right to be critical in your own ways.
Absolutely, you do.
Civil. We can't dictate the terms of criticism.
No, this is not criticism. Mr. Gowda, you're getting into that very delicate line of what is criticism and what is hate speech. And I think this qualifies as hate speech, not so much as criticism. We've had ample criticism of Hinduism in this country. We've had unending criticism of Hinduism in this country. And Hindus are the most accepting of all criticism. And I accept the ills of Hinduism. But I, for one, am not going to carry the guilt that only Hinduism has ills. I'm sorry to say, politicians like Udhayanidhi Stalin will never open their mouth about ills in any other religion. I'm calling out their hypocrisy.
They're speaking as insiders to a religion.
They're not insiders. What insider is Udhayanidhi Stalin? What is his upbringing? What is his privilege?
No. See, please remember they are criticizing a religion, not the religious followers. There's a distinction.
No. In the statement that Mr. Stalin has made, this is why I called it, no, I'm sorry, this is why I called it refreshing at the start of my show, because the statement that Mr. Stalin has made is not criticism and it is not hiding behind this ruse that we are fighting the ills of Hinduism. He has said it as openly as possible. We need to eradicate Sanatan Dharma itself. Sanatan Dharma stands for a lot of things and this country wouldn't be as secular and open if it wasn't for Sanatan Dharma. He better accept that as well.
Yes, but you and I have the rights to read it that way.
No, it's not a reading, it's fact. Mr. Gowda, Mr. Gowda, my aim is not to fight with you, but it is not a reading, it's a fact. History is bearing fact to this. We cannot erase that history either. And we cannot condemn a religion only by some ills. And like I said, I dare them to open their mouth about ills about any other religion in this fashion. But Mr. Guru Prakash is... No, okay, finish. What is it that you want to say?
No, Shivani, I was only saying we have the rights to read Hinduism in the way we are doing. And if you are at the receiving end, they have the rights to read it the way they do.
I have no problems with that, Mr. Gowda, but calling for eradication of a religion is not reading of a religion. Calling people who follow a certain philosophy as mosquitoes is not reading of that religion. Please understand, that's the limited point I'm making. I'm all for criticism and there is only criticism of Hinduism in this country. But we'll accept that. Tessin, you wanted to come in very quickly, then Guru Prakash.
Just very one point. In our country, the religion that's seen most reforms has been Hinduism. You can't take away from that. For example, and I'll end here, Bhagwan Ram or Bhagwan Krishna were not born as Brahmins. They were born as Kshatriya or as a Yadav. And in fact, Bhagwan Ram killed a Brahmin, Ravan. But we still worship them. So let's not say that this is the most reforms that happen in the Hindu way of life. That
and yet it gets attacked the most. You know, the appalling thing is this. It keeps getting attacked in the most basest of manners. This is not criticism, I'm sorry to say.
It's dehumaning. You can't call people
It's dehumanizing of Hindus who follow Sanatan Dharma, and dehumanization is categorized as hate speech.